Right, cast your minds back to Alex Marquez last season. The bloke was absolutely flying. Leading the championship early on, giving his own brother Marc a proper run for his money. Marc Marquez, mind you, the 7-time world champion. And now here we are in 2026, 3 rounds in, and Alex has practically vanished from the sharp end of the grid. In this video, we're getting into exactly why that's happened. What's gone wrong with the bike, why Ducati themselves are in a bit of a pickle, and whether Alex has got what it takes to turn this around. Stick with us to the end because we've got a cracking question for you lot before we're done. To properly appreciate how dramatic this drop-off is, you've got to remember just how good Alex was in 2025. 3 wins, 12 podiums on race Sundays, and a runner-up finish in the World Championship. That's not a fluke. That's a rider who got his head down, stayed consistent, and delivered week in, week out. He even led the standings ahead of Marc at one point, which is no small thing when you consider who Marc is. Fast forward to now, and the numbers tell a rather bleak story. Through the opening 3 rounds, Thailand, Brazil, and the United States, Alex has managed just 28 points, barely over half of what his fellow Ducati man Fabio Di Giannantonio racked up over the same stretch. He's sitting 8th in the standings, which feels a million miles away from where anyone expected him to be after last year's brilliance. This isn't just a rough patch. Something deeper is going on. Here's where it gets interesting. The core of the problem is that the new GP26 Ducati doesn't suit Alex's riding style the way the GP24 did. And that's the machine that carried him to those brilliant results last year at the really galling part. Ducati have given him the exact same factory spec machinery as Marc, Bagnaia, and Di Giannantonio. Same bike, same tools. The results, though, couldn't be more different. Alex has been refreshingly honest about it. He said himself that the characteristics of the GP26 clash quite significantly with his natural style on the bike, and that in some races, it's felt less like competing and more like pure survival. That's a pretty stark word to use, and it tells you everything about where his head's been at on those weekends. Even after a lengthy preseason testing program and 3 flyaway rounds under his belt, he reckons he's still about 20% away from getting the best out of the package. That's a sizable gap. It means the connection between rider and machine simply isn't there yet. As if that weren't enough to deal with, the wider picture at Ducati isn't exactly rosy either. Alex has been candid in pointing out that Aprilia currently have the edge. Their bike offers far greater stability and grip, and he's made no bones about the fact that Ducati need to pull their socks up and catch them. The specific issue is that the Ducati right now is an unpredictable beast. There's a lot of movement, and riders are finding it genuinely difficult to know how hard they can push before the tires give up on them. Imagine driving a car where you're never quite sure when the back end's going to step out. You'd be cautious too, wouldn't you? That's precisely the predicament Alex finds himself in every single weekend. For a rider who's still trying to get to grips with a new machine, that instability makes an already difficult job considerably harder. Looking at the rounds one by one, it doesn't make for particularly comfortable viewing. Alex left Barreram without a single point, and he made precious little impression in either Goiânia or Austin. His best result of the season so far is a 4th-place finish in the U.S. sprint race, and even that owed more to circumstance than outright pace. Meanwhile, Di Giannantonio, on a Ducati over at the VR46 squad, has looked competitive every weekend and has quietly become Ducati's most reliable point scorer. When you're being outperformed on effectively the same machinery, that's when the questions really start being asked. What makes it all the more striking is that Alex was the one leading the championship this time last year. The turnaround in fortune has been quite something. Here's the thing, though. Alex hasn't thrown his hands up in despair. Far from it. He's pointed to the cancellation of the Qatar round as an unexpected silver lining, giving the team a bit of breathing room to sit down, analyze the data properly, and hopefully arrive at Jerez with something more to work with. He's spoken about the progress being gradual but real. Each round, there are small things that feel slightly better, and crucially, he believes that once everything clicks into place, the results will follow sharpish. He's already proved he can do it. Last season was evidence enough of that. It's also worth noting that he's retained some aerodynamic components from the 2024 spec machine on his current bike, which shows the team are actively trying to bridge the gap between what he's comfortable with and what the new package demands. It's not a perfect solution, but it's a sign they're not standing still. Adapting to a new motorcycle in MotoGP is genuinely one of the hardest things a rider can do. Even Marc Marquez took a fair while to get properly settled after leaving Honda for Ducati, but here's the crucial difference. Marc rides with an almost reckless aggression, forcing the bike to do his bidding through sheer will. Alex is a smoother, more measured rider who relies heavily on the machine feeling planted and predictable beneath him. The GP26 by all accounts rewards the aggressive approach, and until Ducati find answers to their stability and grip issues, Alex's style is going to be working against him rather than for him. It's not a crisis. But it is a genuine problem that needs solving, and sooner rather than later. Before we wrap up, we want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments below. Do you think Alex Marquez can turn this around at Jerez and beyond, or is this shaping up to be a long, difficult season for the younger Marquez brother? If you want to keep up with MotoGP through breakdowns like this one. No fluff, just the good stuff. Hit subscribe and switch on the notifications so you never miss a video. Here's a thought to leave you with. In motorsport, the difference between a champion and also-ran is often not raw talent. It's how quickly you can learn to communicate with the machine underneath you. Alex Marquez showed last season that he absolutely can do that. The only question now is how quickly he can do it again with a bike that isn't making it easy for him. If you've got a mate who's into MotoGP and hasn't seen this, send it their way. The more the merrier when it comes to a decent debate. See you in the next one. Keep the rubber side down. And honestly, there's something almost poetic about the situation Alex finds himself in right now. Last year, everyone was asking whether he could truly compete at the very front of MotoGP. And he answered that question convincingly, with wins, podiums, and a title challenge that nobody saw coming. This year, the question has shifted entirely. It's no longer about whether he belongs at the sharp end of the grid. It's about whether he and Ducati can solve this puzzle before the season slips away from them completely. The championship waits for no one, and every round that passes without a strong result is ground that becomes harder and harder to claw back. Points lost in Thailand, Brazil, and Austin don't come back. The other riders at the front aren't going to slow down out of courtesy while Alex finds his feet. That's just not how this sport works, and Alex knows it better than anyone. But here's what's easy to forget in all of this. Alex Marquez has been written off before, more than once, in fact. There were plenty of people who thought he'd always live in his brother's shadow, that he'd never truly make his mark at the highest level. And then 2025 happened, and those same people had to eat their words. Quietly, perhaps, but they ate them all the same. So before anyone starts penning the obituary for his 2026 season, it might be worth remembering that resilience is arguably his greatest quality as a rider. The mental strength to stay calm when things aren't going your way, to keep working, keep communicating with the engineers, and keep believing that the breakthrough is just around the corner. That's not something every rider possesses. Alex does. And if Jerez brings even a glimpse of that old connection between man and machine, don't be at all surprised if the rest of the paddock suddenly remembers exactly who they're dealing with.